Hello, I'm Bud McCord, and I'm here in Brazil, South America. On our Fridays, we've talked about being practical about our Christian life. And so I'm showing you a little bit of my morning in the city where I live in Brazil. Right now, I'm in a beautiful park here near our home. I get up in the morning after I've done our devotional time, and I take a walk in the park, burning off calories, trying to keep myself moving. And this particular park right here behind me has a very special significance in our community. Back in the 1930s and 1940s here in Brazil, there were problems with tuberculosis. And this whole property here where I'm standing right now is a place that was kept by very wealthy people of the Catholic Church who were taking care of people that were sick with tuberculosis. Today, tuberculosis is no longer the big problem that it was in Brazil back then. This is a chapel here. It's a very beautiful building. And this was a place for people to spend 4 years, usually, to get themselves out of the tuberculosis crisis. It was a kind of active love. You know, we've been talking about in the book of John that the real key issue of everything is to love. And sometimes we just need to get out of the house and just walk, just see what's going on. This place right now is a fun place for kids to come and to walk, and we're about, maybe half a mile from where we started a church 43 years ago in this city. In fact, behind me you can see the buildings behind me, and those are one of the buildings where Pam and I and our kids lived when we first came here to Brazil. And we became a part of this city back in 1980. And today we have been in the process of planting another church here in this city. And we've been doing that. We did it all during the pandemic. And the point I want to make is that, where we live out our Christian life is in the real world. It's in a place where people suffer, they get sick, they're lonely, they're broken, and it has to be a kind of love that's practical. Every time I come into this place and I think about the people who are living for 4 years isolated in here, back in those days, people wouldn't even come to this city because they were afraid of catching tuberculosis. So they would avoid this place. But there were doctors and nurses and godly people in this city that were doing their best to help people. This place was in disrepair. It was abandoned. But then a group in the city began to say, well, why don't we just restore this and try to bring it back to some sort of life? And so little by little, the community has been trying to restore this place and to bring it back to life. Like I said, we got here 43 years ago, planted a church, and that church we planted is not far from here. And the interesting thing is that the church we planted 43 years ago is still healing lives. We don't attend that church anymore because we started another church, but it's always good to know that what you did 43 years ago is still healing lives. So, when we think about the practical things that John has been teaching us, and we think about what the real Christian life is like, it's like this. It's a place, it's a location where we try to bring people for healing in Christ. And as your life moves on, like my life has been moving on and yours has been moving on, we come to the place where we look back a little bit and we go, you know what? It was really worthwhile. It was really worthwhile. This particular park is full of all kinds of birds, and you can see like there the turkeys going by. They become my friends. They know who I am. And they're here. There's another kind of bird that was come here from Africa, brought here many centuries ago. And you see them every day, and they're going about their business, and they're not worried about anything or they're not stressed about anything. It's very practical for them. They're living one day at a time, and they're doing whatever they can to live out their lives. And they're in this beautiful place, and today there's nobody here in the hospital. We have hospitals now and everything that look great. But you know, when I walk in here in the morning and I go around this park and I just kind of get to know my neighbors, and I run into people here all the time that I've known now, some of them for as long as 43 years. And I really think it's important that when we're thinking about spiritual things, that we keep in mind that spirituality is lived locally. It's lived locally. It's loving your neighbor. Sometimes we can get so busy with the big picture that we forget that it's just loving your neighbor. You know, tuberculosis comes in your city, or crisis comes in your city, you love your neighbor. You look at the things which are not seen, and you go ahead and you go in the direction of pain. That's what people did here in this community. Brazil has historically been a Catholic country. And, you know, it's marked by that Catholic tradition. But I can tell you this, the people who built this place and this church that's right here, even though I don't believe in all the things they believe in, they took this very seriously. And you come in here and you can see this place. This is a place of prayer. It's dedicated to Mary, but I still know that God is listening to all of us, whatever our beliefs may be, as long as we're believing in Jesus. I think that's the essence of what really is important. So this is where my neighbors come to walk. So this is where I walk. And as I walk, I pray. And as I pray, I see my life passing before me like you do. And I just realize that at the end of the day, or at the end of this long walk called life, it's who you loved that matters. It's who you cared about that matters. Did you really choose love over the corruption in the world and the hard things in the world? Did you love? It just kind of gets back to that, doesn't it? So I thought I would just share with you a few minutes. Rather than preaching anything to you, I want to encourage you to live your life locally and close to your neighbors, and just keep loving people. I'm not very good at doing these videos like this, but I gave it a try. Hopefully it's beneficial to you. Keep abiding in Christ. It's the right thing to do. God bless you.